All right, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where in the country you're joining us. My name is Jeff Moe. I'm a director of business development covering the province of BC, in charge of both individual life as well as retirement. I'm joined here today by my business associate, Stephen Paul, working out of our Toronto head office. And today we'll be going through a 1 hour presentation covering our term product as well as a little bit of a demo on our electronic application. Couple of housekeeping items just to start the webinar. We will be offering 1 CE credit for today's session, and we'll be sharing some of that process and contact information with you at the end. I'll start off by saying thank you all for joining us today. During these turbulent times, time is definitely one of your most valued assets, and so there are a lot of webinars and a lot of presentations floating about. So I'd like to take the time to thank you for taking time out of your day to join the SSQ presentation, and to take the time to learn a little bit more about us as a company and a little bit more about our product offering. So without further ado, I'll just jump into the presentation, and we'll have about a 15-minute Q&A session at the end of the presentation if any of you have any additional questions. You are all muted at the moment, so if you have any questions along the way, feel free to type those into the chat, and we can try to address those as best we can, again, at the end of the presentation. Okay, so just a quick agenda for today. I'll be going through a little bit about the SSQ insurance profile, who we are as a company, where we started off, where we think we're going to head in the current market space. We're going to go through the meat of the presentation, following that, which is really our highly competitive Term Plus product, and segueing that into number 3, our electronic application and its non-face-to-face capabilities. Stephen will go through a little bit of a demo for you guys, a little bit more of a hands-on training, so that you can see on screen how easy and intuitive the SSQ eApp process is. And then we'll pass it back to me to conclude, and then again we'll leave up a 10 to 15 minute Q&A session for you guys to ask any additional questions that you have. All right, so jumping right into it, SSQ as an insurance carrier. Really, we had our roots starting in 1944 here. So we did celebrate our 75th anniversary just last year in 2019. And we were actually founded by that gentleman on the top left-hand corner of the slide here, Dr. Jacques Tremblay, who started SSQ as a health cooperative to provide that health care and those healthcare needs to those individuals who didn't have access to their own health care. This is before the onset of universal healthcare in Canada. So really, our roots are in a mutualistic, community-based organization that aim to provide needs to individuals who struggle to those needs on their own. So even though we started out in 1944, we really only started expanding outside of Quebec in 2001. And so, as far as our specific line of business, individual life and retirement, started off in 2012 in BC and the rest of Canada. Previous to that, this line of business was managed by AXA Insurance. Some of you are familiar with that. Back in 2008, when the downturn of the economy took place, AXA decided to pull out of the Canadian market. And SSQ already had its roots in group insurance, decided to diversify our portfolio and pick up that arm of the business. So somewhere in 2012, our individual life and retirement platform was expanded overnight into the rest of Canada. Now we have offices in all major cities in Canada here, spanning from East Coast all the way to Vancouver here in the West Coast. And we cover 4 major lines of business. We have group insurance, individual insurance, investments in the form of site funds, as well as general insurance. A couple of things to note is that general insurance is currently not available outside of Quebec for the time being. We do have a large presence of group insurance, and in fact, 70% of our yearly derived from our group insurance side. I myself, as well as Stephen, on the line here, cover the individual life as well as the investment for SSQ. Now, in terms of company size, we're about the 6th largest insurance company in Canada by premium volume. For those of you familiar with Standard Life before it was taken over by Manulife, we're about the same size as what Standard Life used to be. So we've got about 3 million clients or so, 2,000 employees nationwide, $12 billion in assets under management, and about $2.5 billion in consolidated insurance. We believe that a company that has already shown growth is proven to show growth is far likely to succeed going forward. So both in insurance premiums as well as net income, you can see throughout 2013 all the way up to 2017, we've had some significant progress, and mostly due to our expansion outside of Quebec. We have identified that SSQ as an insurance carrier to move over to the next 75 years of prosperity, that about 80% or so of our growth is going to happen outside of Quebec. And that's going to be a key part of our strategy to expand our brand, to be more recognizable, and to appeal to the English-speaking side of Canada going forward. Just last year, actually, in 2019, our AM Best credit rating was upgraded from an A- to an A. And we're very proud of that fact. That's due to our solvency ratio, the return on investment, and the fact that our business has expanded quite well outside of Quebec since 2012. All right, so jumping into the meat of the presentation here, we're going to discuss Term Plus, the new and improved Term Plus from what it used to be. So quickly, before I jump into the bells and whistles and the features of the product, I'll go over a little bit of what's new and what has changed since 2019. So at SSQ, we used to have two term products, one term and one called Term Plus. We've since merged the two products together to make it a little bit more competitive, more flexible, and easier for you to have those discussions with your clients. Along with that, we've made it highly competitive and highly flexible by merging all these features together. We've decreased premiums, both at issue and at renewal. We've increased compensation for our T10 and T15 products. And we've added over and above our T35, a Term 40 product to help take your clients up to that retirement. We've made our exchange program a little bit more flexible. I'll go through that in just a little bit. We're currently not doing fluids at the moment here, but non-meds are up to $500K for the time being, well, before the pandemic hit. And we've consolidated our policy fee, where it's a $60 flat fee for up to 7 lives on the policy here. It is available as a rider on our UL platform as well. We've upped the DI age up to age 65, and we upped the conversion privilege to a permanent product up until age 71. And you'll see how all these features work together to really provide that flexible and competitive product for your clients. This is a screen just to show you the average decrease in terms of pricing since we last revamped our product in last November. Significant of note is that on a Term 20, for example, the average decrease is 2%. And on the decreasing side, you can see that even a 10% decrease on average. So we've become very, very competitive in pricing, but also very flexible in our features. And when you put it all together, you'll really see why this is really a great product design for the mid-market. Like I mentioned before, we did up our comp for the T10 as well as the T15. It used to be 40% FYC, and now it's 42.5% and 45% respectively for the T10 and the T15. Okay, so the Term Plus product really is the catch-all, all-in-one solution for the mid-market, both on the personal side for the business side. Highly flexible, great alternative to bank products, and highly competitive. And the reason for that is because it's really a build your own coverage type of policy, build your own. We want to provide you with the building blocks necessary to customize a solution for your clients to tailor to their specific needs, right? So at the very base of it all, you have your life insurance coverage. I'll go a little bit more into detail about the life insurance as we go here. As options and menu selections, you also have available to you a DI loan insurance rider, a CI critical illness rider, a child rider to help secure present and future needs of growing families. And included as part of our Term Plus insurance solution, you also get a couple of built-in features via the insurability benefit as well as the extreme disability benefit, which we do not charge anything extra for. So I'll go through what those mean and how you can use those in your conversations. But really, the main part of this slide is to show you the customizability of the product. You don't have to take all of these features. You can pick and choose. You can build it with just the life insurance alone. You can build it with the DI. You can add in the CI or the child rider as you see. On the life insurance portion, you have T10 all the way up to T40 available in 5-year intervals. Now, a little bit unique to SSQ is we have level or decreasing. For the decreasing, it'll reduce to 50% of your initial face amount. So really a great apples to apples comparison to your traditional mortgage insurance if you're making that comparison with the banks and you want to offer something that's par to par. At a minimum, it's $25,000 coverage to a maximum of. Again, our preferred underwriting is at $500,000. That's before the pandemic. We're not taking any fluids at the moment here. So I'll share with you guys the changes that we've made for the pandemic in some later slides in the presentation, but just keep that in mind. Unlike other term products on the market, we have a 5-year renewable. So after the initial term, we renew at a lesser premium at 5 years, just to kind of help keep those costs down and provide your clients with those additional options to either convert to a permanent product or to hang on to the term product for a little while if affordability is an issue. We have up the conversion age up to age 71, up to 1 year from age 70. May not seem like a big deal to some of you, but what we realized was that a lot of you were having RIF conversion conversations for those of you who are doing money business as well. And if you hadn't had a chance to speak to your client until their 71st birthday, then you would have missed the train on the conversion privilege on this Term Plus product. So we think there's a lot of synergy by upping up the convertible age to 71 so that you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone and have that conversion conversation for both your RRSP to your RIF as well from your term product over to a permanent product. So we're very happy about that change. Okay, now as part of this combo, build your own life insurance, we offer a life underwritten $20,000 CI rider as an option. And in fact, if your client is given standard or better on any SSQ life insurance policy, we will offer as an option automatically the CI rider. It's simply a check mark by the client to say if he wants it or not. And these documents will be presented at delivery. Now, of importance for today's presentation, when I speak about the CI rider, I'm speaking specifically about this $20,000 combo package as part of the Term Plus product. You can add additional CI coverage onto the Term Plus for more than $20,000, but that will obviously involve additional underwriting, CI specifically. Today, when I mentioned the CI rider, I'm specifically referring to this $20,000. Essentially what it is that it covers the 3 major illnesses: heart attack, stroke, and cancer. And the premiums are level and guaranteed until age 85. So for example, if your client purchases a Term Plus product and adds in the CI rider, and they convert that product at a later point in time to a permanent product, they get to keep the CI rider at the original premiums all the way up until age 5. So bang for buck wise, this is an excellent product. Doing the math here on the male 35 non-smoker, we're looking at about $100 in annual premium, and it's leveled and until age 85. And if you do the math here, for 50 years of protection, you're looking at $5,000 premium for a $20,000 benefit. So again, a couple of great things to use this CI rider for. A couple of good uses are, one, either for the affordability, make it very cheap and to have at least a little bit of CI coverage for your starter families, or it's just to help you bridge that conversation into a more in-depth CI coverage. Icebreaker to get into a more in-depth CI conversation. All right, so that's the CI. Life underwritten only. As long as you have standard on your life insurance, you're automatically eligible for this $20,000 lump sum. Heart attack, stroke, and cancer automatically offered as an option on delivery of any SSQ insurance, life insurance. Okay, so that's one part of your kind of building block. As part of the combo package here, we also offer the option of a DI rider. Now, this is not an income replacement DI rider. This is a loan protection. So we primarily position this against mortgages, but we cover more than just a mortgage loan. We cover a mortgage line of credit. We cover investment loans, car loans, student loans, commercial loans. And essentially, the way it works is that you were allowed up to a 1.5% of your life insurance face amount to a hard ceiling of $3,500 a month to help cover your loans in the unlikely event that you either become ill or injured and you cannot perform your primary accountabilities of your employment. Right. So it's up to you and your client to declare what your DI need is at the time of application. But the good thing is that it's a moving target, right? So if your DI needs change over time, if you take on a new loan or you're done paying down a certain loan, you can always contact SSQ and have that DI rider amount adjusted either up or down, and we'll adjust the premiums accordingly. Now, the burden of proof does not come at time of application. It is up to you and your client to declare how much the need is. The burden of proof comes at time of claim, right? So if you've subscribed to a $3,500 a month benefit, but at time of claim, you're only able to present $3,000 in benefit or so, or monthly debt obligation, then you're only going to get that $3,000 benefit paid out to the client. So it is important to have that transparent conversation with your clients to see what their monthly debt obligation. It is very, very flexible. You can offer it in 2 years, 5 years, or up to age 65 indemnity period. And the stay-at-home parent or stay-at-home spouse is also eligible for up to $1,000 on the DI. Right. So a couple of key notes here. Because it's not an income replacement DI, this is a life-based underwriting. So as long as your client is in an insurable occupation, nothing too risky, they are eligible for this loan. And again, you won't have to go through a DI application. It's all built into the SSQ Life application. Okay, and then as well as part of the combo package, you have the child rider available as well. Essentially what this is that we charge one premium to cover all of the insured's dependent children. At a minimum, it's a $5,000 coverage to a maximum of $25,000 coverage. And the child has to pretty much just make it to 15 days old, and he's covered from 15 days all the way up to adulthood. Adulthood meaning either he finishes a post-secondary, he or she finishes the post-secondary degree, he or she gets married, or he or she moves out from their home residence with their parents. So at that point, they are eligible to convert the product to 5 times the coverage amount to a maximum of $100,000 without any additional evidence of insurability. So a couple of keynotes here. Well, what this is good for is because it's one premium covers all dependent children. As soon as the next child is born, And as soon as they reach 15 days, all you have to do is notify SSQ, provide us with the name, and we'll add them to the policy. Secondly, because it's no evidence of insurability required, for those children that have or are diagnosed with illnesses that may cause them not to be eligible for life insurance as adults, this was a good roundabout way to be able to get at least some permanent coverage for your children, up to $100,000. And as part of either the DI or the CI rider, free of charge, you have the assistance benefit included. Essentially, it's a 24/7 concierge service administered by AXA Insurance, which you can use for either second medical opinions, legal assistance, identity theft, common problems with lawyers or estate law and stuff like that. It's essentially our version of Best Doctors, right? So for those of you in the industry, you'll be very familiar with Best Doctors. This is SSQ's version.
SSQ speaking. Good, how are you?
Now, another nice thing about the SSQ Term Plus product is that it comes built in with a 25% insurability. Clients can up their coverage amount, their life or DI coverage amount, by up to 25% without any additional writing during very specific events in their life. Right. So either you get a new loan, marriage breakdown. If you're refinancing an existing loan, you have a newborn or you've adopted a new child, or you're completing a new post-secondary degree, whether it be a bachelor's degree, a master's, or a PhD. You are eligible to increase your life insurance amount by 25% without any additional underwriting. Of course, premiums will go up accordingly, but we won't charge you anything for applying for that 25% insurability. And hey, if at the end of the day, your client is healthy and in good health, you can save the insurability benefit for a later point in time and rewrite that policy while they're healthy and start a new policy and just save this benefit for a time when it's needed. Now, in addition to all of that, priced in with every SSQ life insurance policy, you'll also have what we call the extreme disability. It can get confusing at times. I've used the word disability quite a lot in my presentation today. So please remember that the total disability rider is a loan insurance protection that you can add on to the life insurance policy, and it has its own associated. The extreme disability benefit, which you see on your screen now, is included free of charge in every SSQ policy. And what it is essentially a possibility to gain a 50% death benefit or advance of your death benefit if your client cannot perform 4 out of the 6 activities of daily living listed on the screen here. Getting in and out of bed, feeding, bathing, dressing, using the toilets, and incontinence. So if you cannot perform 4 out of the 6 of these daily activities, you are eligible to claim 50% of your death benefit to a maximum of $250,000 as a living benefit to help your clients, with their needs or to be able to help their family out. It's not mandatory or required. It's an option there and it's available. Keep in mind that it is an advance, meaning that any amount that you take from this will reduce the death benefit. So just as a quick example, if you had $500,000 of life insurance and you claimed $250,000 on this EDB, then the remaining $250,000 is what the life beneficiary would receive at time of death. Again, this is free of charge, priced into every SSQ policy. In fact, when you run an SSQ illustration, you'll see on page 1, EDB, this is what it stands for, the extreme disability benefit. It'll show you a benefit amount and it'll show you the cost of $0 in premium. So this is what it's referring to. All right, so really, the positioning of the product is that all-in-one solution. It's It's convenient, it's flexible, and highly customizable in the sense that you can add the DI, the CI, the child rider. Protects against current and future loans under the DI coverage. Highly competitively priced with preferred risks at 500K or more. And we do offer that conversion privilege at age 71. And we've got those built-in features via the insurability benefit and the extreme disability benefit. So a little bit more about the DI rider, the total disability rider. Your client does have to be in an insurable occupation, right? So number one, since it's a loan insurance, you do have to ask the question, do you have any loans? Keep in mind that rent is not a debt vehicle and therefore is not eligible for the total DI rider. We'll cover mortgages, investment loans, car loans, student loans, etc. You do have to be working, so you have to be working at least 21 hours a week, and you would have had to do so for at least 8 months of the past year. Now, to help you out with this, we do have tools available online as well as in our software to help you ask these questions and to see if they're in an eligible occupation. If you have any additional questions or concerns about these, feel free to reach out to your sales rep. We'll be able to show you where to find these documents and how to ask these questions. And thirdly, and most importantly, in the event of a disability, are you able to pay your bills? Now, again, for those of you that are competing directly with the bank for mortgage insurance, really, I'm preaching to the choir here. The term life insurance offers so many more benefits than your traditional mortgage insurance. And to kind of highlight these examples and have these talking points with your clients, we do have marketing materials and these tools available to you online to help guide you through your conversations. Some of these to note are, who's the policy owner? Who gets to choose the beneficiary on this product? Is the amount level or decreasing? Do you have a choice in that? Are premiums leveled and guaranteed? And what happens if you change lenders, right? So if you change from one lender to the other, what happens to your coverage? More importantly, we all know that term life insurance is underwritten at time of application, meaning what you bought is yours. Once you go through the underwriting and you sign the document, you know that you're covered with a term life insurance product. And there's no chance of that going sideways once they evaluate you at a later point in time. You've signed, you've declared, and the policy is. So again, if you guys have any additional questions or concerns or need additional help in guiding your conversations with your clients in terms of mortgage insurance, we'll be more than happy to share those documents with you and go through those questions. Now, one of the most common things we always hear about is that it won't happen to me. Well, just to share with you a couple of stats here, in 2016, 1 in 7 Canadians reported a disability. The most common causes are musculoskeletal diseases and psychological disorders, right? So more than half of these disabilities are due to conditions that are not related to age, and it can happen to any of us, right? So it is quite important to have that conversation with your client. In markets like Toronto and Vancouver, where a significant chunk of our monthly income is going towards a mortgage payment. I think in DC, the stat is over sometimes 90% is going towards a mortgage payment at a time. So definitely important to have those conversations and see if they're able to pay their bills in the unlikely event of illness or accident. Okay, so just of what a term plus coverage looks like here. So we've built in an illustration here for $500,000 T25 for a multi-life, male and female. We've estimated their monthly debt obligation to be at about $2,300 a month, and we've offered them a 2-year DI rider. We've also added in that very cost-effective and life-based underwriting CI rider for $20,000. And they have a couple of children here, so we've also added in $20,000 in child rider. Now, you'll remember that the extreme disability benefit is built in, and included free of charge. And they have that 25% insurability benefit also at no charge. And the assistance benefit is included because they took CI and DI on that as well. You can see here, all of that package together is about just above $200 a month, which is very, very affordable. Now, before I pass it on to Stephen, go through the e-app, I'm just going to go through a few operational adjustments. This is a hard time for all of us. Things are changing on a daily basis, and we want to make things a little bit more flexible and a little bit more transparent for you all to be able to submit business to SSQ. So before I pass it on to the e-app demonstration, I'm just going to go through a few of the changes that we've done to our underwriting and new business process here. So just as a tip here, we will be sharing the presentation with you guys at the end, so you don't necessarily have to write all of this down. But we've built a microsite dedicated to our operational adjustments here, and that's hosted by SSQ. It's a one-stop shop. On this website, you're going to be able to get updates via webinars. You're going to be able to get newsletters that are published by SSQ on both the life insurance as well as the investment side, how to handle conversations with COVID-19, and what our underwriting process and new business looks like. So all available via this one website here. I encourage you all to check this on a weekly basis just to see if things change. Okay, so new and underwriting. So we've upped our non-med from 500 to 1 million for clients aged between 18 and 50. No paramedical, no blood, no urine. Just you have to answer the medical questions on the life insurance application. That's it. We will be doing a case-by-case consideration for the cases that are pending at the moment. And we'll communicate that decision via LifeSuite as well as your MGA. For e-apps and TeleView underwriting are still ordered by SSQ and provided by DiamondCare. And for paper applications, we're now asking that you complete the medical and personal questions, sections I, J, and K. And we will accept the paper application on a non-face-to-face basis. You can see here our relaxed underwriting guidelines for life insurance, right? So up to $1 million between ages 18 to 50 with that. We've also relaxed the underwriting requirements for CI. So now up to age 40, we can do to $250,000 on CI coverage. All right, so that's $250,000 for age 40 and under for CI. We will now be accepting scanned documents and e-signatures on all of SSQ's applications, both life insurance as well as an investment. You can use DocuSign, you can use Adobe, OneSpan, if that's the platform you're using. One thing to note that e-signatures are not accepted for policy owner or beneficiary change forms. And scanned copies of all documents with handwritten signatures are accepted. Right, so you have a choice of either doing the SSQ e-app, non-face-to-face, or if you're not inclined on the technological side, you can use our fillable PDF application, which is available either on the website or on the SSQ software. Either pre-fill it, print it out, or print it out and fill it out. Scan it, send it to your clients, have them sign it, scan it, and send it back to you. We do ask that you still go through your MGA channels and forward those scanned documents to your MGA, but we will now be accepting non-face-to-face in our paper app, and you can leave the witness signature portions unfilled. Also, as part of our adjustment to our current situation, we're allowing our whole life products to be available on the e-app. Now, to do that, it's a little bit of a workaround. The original e-app wasn't designed to have the whole life on it. So for the time being, you're going to have to put the life insurance face amount and select it as a term product, but then send an email to your MGA with an illustration with the total amount covered, and we will add that on to the application for you, as long as you provide the application number and the client's name. Now, we also accept UL, and that is done via the paper app. Again, we'll take the paper app non-face-to-face. So if you're doing UL, feel free to use the paper app, fillable PDF, and have the client e-sign or hand sign and scan back. On the investment side of things, just to quickly touch on this, contributions can now be made via a pre-authorized payment. So we will now be accepting checks at the time being. You can either include a direct deposit slip or a void check, and we will have those funds directly withdrawn from the client's account. You can also transfer funds via online banking. You can simply add SSQ Insurance Investment as part of a bill payment as your part of your payee list, and enter the 8-digit contract number as reference number and make payments that way. You can also do it for life insurance premiums. Instead of looking for SSQ Insurance Investment, you'll be looking for SSQ Insurance Individual and using your policy number as reference number to pay that bill online as well. So that works for both investments as well as life. And in terms of investment, as well as redemption and settlements, we pay direct deposit only for the time being. So if you're going to do redemptions, we ask that you please use a secure website, log in with your user code and password, and use the Write to Us section to provide those trade instructions for redemption. Now, as part of the contract opening with SSQ, in the fine print, it does say that you have limited trading authority, which means that you are able to submit trades and withdraw redemption requests without client signature. So all you have to do is log into the SSQ website. Click on the Write to Us function, and because you've logged in with your ID and password, we know that it's you, and we'll take those instructions via that platform. Okay, now onto the electronic application. Now, before I have Stephen do a little bit of a demonstration for us here, I'll just go through quickly the eligible cases for the time being. Okay, so your term is available. CI is available, whole life is available as well, but UL is not. UL you'll have to do via the paper app. As part of the offered coverages, you can also add in all those building blocks that I discussed with you earlier in the presentation, right? So the DI rider, the CI rider, the child rider, and these other riders you see on the screen are available on the SSQ electronic application. All right, now I'll leave it to Stephen to take over the presentation and show you guys a little bit of how to use the SSQ. Yeah, Stephen, go ahead, take it away.
Thanks, Jeff. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm just going to quickly pull up my screen here so I can give you guys a full walkthrough of the electronic application. Perfect. So the first thing I'm going to start with is just how to log in. And if you've never registered or logged in before, I'm quickly going to show you that just because that's a common question everyone has. So if you just go SSQ electronic application, on the left-hand side here, you're going to be able to go to the login portion. And that's right here for the electronic application. And I'm just going to quickly log out. So right in here, if you don't remember your password or it's your first time using it, as long as you are contracted, you are set up. So you just need to reset with the email address you used for SSQ, your SSQ advisor code, and finally the language. If you're not yet contracted with SSQ Insurance, you won't be able to do this. However, you do not need to submit a first piece of business to get contracted with SSQ. So what I would suggest is that you go ahead, get contracted. It doesn't cost anything. That way you can see our programs, use our electronic application. And if there is a piece of business that maybe SSQ fits in, that step of the process is already done and you're able to go a lot faster and smoother. So without that, I'm gonna log in and show you guys the SSQ electronic application. So I think it's fairly user-friendly and definitely important. I had the chance to do my thesis on this, and a lot of MGA presidents and CEOs around the company really feel that this is the way of the future and it's an important part of every business. So you have your saved applications here and your new session. Just for the sake of time here, I'm just going to go to a saved application where I have some of the fields filled in, but I will still show you the process of everything. So we'll just try and go back again. All right, so once you're in, it's going to give you the option to either do a face-to-face or a non-face-to-face. I'm going to demonstrate a non-face-to-face as that during this current time is what a lot of people will be using. So the following guidelines must be met, and Jeff went over some of these. Policy owner must be the payer, policy owner must be insured, maximum life amount, and proof of identity. So when you go through each page, and I'll start at the beginning here, you're just going to go through and fill out each question, and then you're going to send it to the client each time to confirm. So what the client needs is this URL here that you're going to give to each of them, and the call code, which secures and makes each call unique. So 094 for this session. So they're going to put it in a web browser, either their smartphone or laptop. They just need to make sure that they have internet access. The call code that they were given from you, and then each page is going to be sent back to them as you go along. So as you go through it, you'll fill in the information. The first page is pretty easy. You'll send to the client to confirm, and they're going to receive that information on their end in red what you've filled in, and they're simply just going to validate or agree each page, and then you'll see that validation saved here. You can either scroll through using next or the guide up top here. So you're going to fill in your information here of the client, and you're going to make sure on this page that you do a client search, otherwise it won't let you proceed. If the client's not in our database, that's fine. You're simply going to exit, continue, and send to the client each time for validation. They'll get the page. If they're happy, they'll agree. If not, they can simply just tell you you're going to cancel, edit the information that you've put in, and send back to them for confirmation. For the premiums page, you're simply going to tick off each information. So here we chose a level, term plus 30. You're going to put the face amount in here. And you're not going to put the monthly and annual premium, but you're going to go down and hit the calculate button. That's going to calculate what you've put in and give you those amounts. If you're looking for a preferred rating, it won't show here. You're going to have to send in a separate request, but given right now we are not accepting medicals and medicals can't be done, that's not an option, but afterwards you always can revisit that with your clients. You'll go through the information again, calculate, and send to the client to confirm. I'll quickly go through the other pages just to show you. An additional note on here is that if you want to add CI, you can simply add the rider under additional benefits. Or if you want to add a standalone CI, you're simply going to add a coverage and fill in that information that you want to do. You'll go through each page adding the information. And when you get to the client details, the preferred time for the telephone interview. So when you submit an electronic application, you're not going to answer the medical questions. but it's going to be completed by Dynacare. So as soon as you submit the application, it's uploaded to our system and Dynacare is notified, and they'll look at this information of the best time that they are going to reach out to do that interview. The beneficiaries you'll go through, only important thing to note on this page is that the percentage on the right needs to equal up to 100%. So if you have 3 beneficiaries, that means one's going to have to be at 34 if you want them all to be equal. On the payment page, if you want the temporary insurance agreement, you're going to select yes. And you'll go through the information. Just because I have pre-filled information here, we can't change it, so I'll edit. And if you're doing the temporary insurance, you need to do withdrawal on reception of this application. So you'll fill in the information of either the banking details or the credit card to submit. Since I don't want to fill any of that out today, I'm just going to put withdrawal upon settling of the policy. If you ever forget any portion of the application or select something wrong, it's simply going to notify you of that. So let's click here, send decline to confirm. It'll show you what's wrong with red asterisks and what needs to be filled in order to complete and send to the client. Finally, the signature pages, when you're ready to generate the signatures, you're just simply going to generate, read over it, and it's the city and province that the client is doing the electronic signature. So just because I'm saying Vancouver, if the client is in Victoria, that's where you're going to enter the information. Again, send to the client, and this is where 3 automatic signatures will be generated, and they'll select one to act as their signature. And the final page, just the financial advisor security report, just any information or doubts or other notes that you have about the client. And when you're all happy with the application, you've gone through it with your client, you can finally create the PDF. Once you've saved a PDF copy to your computer, you'll be able to submit the application to SSQ Insurance. Just because this is a fake one, I'm not going to submit it, but I will quickly open up the PDF just to give you guys a little highlight of what it looks like and what the signatures look like on that page. So as you can see, all the info that's been put in is filled out here, your application number in the top right. And then towards the bottom, the signatures. So you can see there, the signature there. That's everything. So I'm just going to quickly go back to the basic and show you for a face-to-face, you're doing the exact same process, except instead of sending it to the client to confirm, you're just going to validate with them there beside you, and you'll go throughout the process the same way. So I'm just going to pass it back to Jeff quickly now for him to wrap things up. Thank you guys again.
All right, thank you very much, Stephen. All right, thank you again, Stephen. Appreciate you taking the time to do a quick demo for our advisors here. I think just to highlight a couple of the neat features with the SSQ electronic application. Number one is that you can do this both on a face-to-face or non-face-to-face. Right? So obviously in our current environment, we're leaning more towards non-face-to-face. Cloud-based. All your client needs is an internet connection. You can complete this either on the computer, on a tablet, or on a cell phone if push comes to shove. Secondly, I think the really neat feature is the fact that we generate the signatures on the screen for you already. So there's no need for the client to print or to DocuSign or scan it back for you. All it is, it's a multiple choice, select a signature style that you like, and we transpose that signature style right onto the contract for you. So administratively, that's a little bit less of a burden for you and your clients and makes things a little bit easier. And third of all, I think we've done a really good job at keeping your clients engaged during the electronic application process by asking them to verify the information every so often. And that just prevents you from making any errors or filling in incorrect information. And we'll be able to notify you before the application sends in and gets sent in and becomes a big headache. So in terms of error mitigation, it's good that the client is involved. And if you've missed any part of the e-app or any of the fields, the e-app is good about being dummy proof, and it'll show you a kind of red blinking message and tell you what's missing or where you went wrong. I'd also like to take the opportunity to highlight the fact that temporary insurance is available. So I do recommend that everyone takes the temporary insurance option. In the current state of affairs, we do not know how long this pandemic is going to last for. We don't know how long social distancing is going to go. And we don't know if there might be any potential delays. So it's always a good idea to answer those temporary insurance questions to make sure that at least your clients have a little bit of coverage, right? So it's important to go through that. And keep in mind as well that if you are selecting temporary insurance, that you do select the payment method, which allows us to withdraw premiums at receipt of application, not at time of delivery, but at time that we receive the application. That's important, because if you answer the TIA questions and you don't select that as your payment method, if we don't take any money, then your client is not eligible for that TIA, right? So I leave that decision in your capable hands, but it is definitely recommended, right? So those are the features of our e-app. It'll take some getting used to. It's kind of like riding a bike. You gotta hop on and try it a little bit, but your respective sales reps will be more than happy to go through the electronic application with you and to get you your login information. Like I said, it won't be too hard. Once you do it once or twice, it'll be pretty intuitive, and you should be all set and good to go. Now, for those of you that are not inclined to learn a little bit more on the technological side, no big deal. Like I mentioned before, we are offering to have our paper apps non-face-to-face, right? So if you don't want to go through the e-app and you want to just use the fillable PDF or even the handwrite in the live application and just scan that into us, we will accept that for the time being. All right, so again, you'll get a copy of this presentation. All the links and resources tools will be available to you there, but feel free to reach out to your individual sales reps to get that info. Okay, so to kind of wrap things up here, I'm not going to spend too much time on the guides. I mean, if you want, there are one-pagers available on the website, as well as the illustration software to guide both you and your clients through the electronic app process. If you'd like to have those guides, feel free to reach out to your reps. We'll be happy to share that information with you. And of course, you'll have available to you tech support team. Our contact is on the screen. Hours of operation, sales support team is on the screen as well. Hours of operation are there also. And like I said, you're going to get a copy of this, so no need to kind of scramble and copy any of this thing. Now, to kind of wrap things up a little bit, I just want to, actually, I'll jump back to that in a little bit here. I just wanted to wrap things up and circle back around to TermPlus and why we think it's one of the best products on the market, right? So if you remember, it's a all-in-one solution built out for the mid-market, whether for the personal or the business market. Customized as you see fit. You'll remember life insurance offered from T10 all the way up to T40 in 5-year intervals. You'll remember that we have a DI loan insurance rider, right? Loan insurance, and we are a first payer on the DI rider, so we do not conflict with anyone's group plan, right? So there is a situation or scenario in which a client becomes ill or disabled and could collect their income replacement from their group plan. and also get their loan insurance payment from SSQ to cover their mortgage, right? So that's key. That's very nice. You also have that CI rider. You'll remember it's a $20,000 coverage for heart attack, stroke, or cancer, with premiums being extremely affordable and leveled and guaranteed until age 85. And the key thing here is that it's life underwritten only, right? This $20,000 CI rider is life underwritten, meaning that anyone who has a family history or is a cancer survivor who may not be eligible for a standalone CI product can get a little bit of CI coverage via this roundabout way, as long as they qualify as standard on their life insurance, right? So that's also key. That's very nice. You can also add in the child rider. You'll remember benefit is $5,000 to a maximum of $25,000 for all dependable children, right? One premium covers all children so long as they survive to their 15th day, and they're covered all the way up until their adulthood. And at that point, you can convert that without any insurability up to 5 times to a maximum amount of $100,000, right? And then as well, included as part of this entire package, you've got that insurability benefit, which allows you to up your life or DI amount in the event that you take on a new loan, you go through marriage or divorce, you're taking on more education, et cetera, et cetera. And also, with no cost, we also build in the extreme disability benefit, where if you cannot perform 4 out of the 6 activities of daily living, you can advance yourself up to $250,000, 50% of your life insurance amount as a living benefit, right? So you kind of wrap all of that up together, make it affordable, make it flexible, make it customizable, and make it available via face-to-face or non-face-to-face. And I think it makes a really good case to start looking at SSQ for the mid-market. All right, so before I wrap things up, I want to mention an incentive program that SSQ does offer as well. All right, so with SSQ, we don't have any national conferences. Instead, we provide a cash bonus to our top performers. So we call this the SSQ Merit. Right? You can qualify either on life insurance alone, investments alone, or a combination of the two. We scale this via a point system, right? So you need 1 million points to start qualifying for your first merit bonus check. And the way you get that 1 million points on the investment side is dollar for dollar. So $1 in Insight Fund investment nets you 1 point in this credit program. On the life insurance side is your net FYC. $1 in net FYC is 40 credits towards this point, right? So depending on how many points you get, we actually tier that up. So as an example here, you can see on the chart, at 1 million points, you'll get a 16 basis point payout, which means you get an additional $1,600 check from SSQ that comes directly to you and not through your MGA, right? So again, you can qualify on life only or investments only or a combination of the two. As you scale that up, we'll increase that basis point bonus to you to a maximum of 40.15 million credits or more. So we're very excited about that. Obviously not the reason why we're in the business, but it never helps to keep the lights on. So with all that said, I'd like to thank you very much for your time in joining us today. I'm going to, or Stephen and I are going to stick around for some Q&As if you have any additional questions. You guys will be getting your CE credits via email, and Stephen will put up a screen of all your respective sales reps and their contacts right now for you guys. All right, thank you very much. Stephen, go ahead and put up that screen of the other contact.
Thanks, everyone, and thanks, Jeff. So just a quick, here is the contact info for the sales, both directors and inside, from BC all the way down. You can see Prairies, Ontario West, GTA, Ontario East, and Kingston, Ottawa, and Atlantic. If you have any questions that you asked in the Q&A that were not answered during the presentation, we're sorry about that. There's over 600 participants. So please just reach out to one one of your insides or wholesalers, and we'll be happy to get back to you with an answer. In the meantime, Jeff and I are going to stick around, and if you have any Q&As, you can put them in the chat box, and we'll be happy to answer them from what we can. Thanks again, guys.